I dated Sophia Taylor, the eldest daughter of the Taylor family in Los Angeles, for 10 years, and we were preparing to make it official. Outside the hotel private room, I overheard her conversation with her best friend. Sophia, are you really going to marry Ethan Johnson? I'm marrying him to repay Grandpa George Taylor's favor. I don't love him. I pushed open the private room and said seriously, we won't be getting married then. In my previous life, I married into the Taylor family and expanded Taylor Group tenfold. But after marriage, she was cold and unfeeling, spending all her time with her first love, Dylan Scott. Even when I was hospitalized with cancer, she never came to see me once. In that moment, I finally understood. Someone who doesn't love you will never care whether you live or die. Reborn, I live this life only for myself. Hearing this, Sophia Taylor froze. Her girlfriends looked at me, thinking they had misheard. The me who had always adored Sophia Taylor with all my heart. How could I suddenly have changed? She wiped the smile from her lips, her face returning to its usual coolness. Ethan Johnson, do you know what you're saying? I gave a faint smile. Of course I know. If you don't love me, then let's break up. If this were my past life, I wouldn't have dared show any defiance toward her. Even if she went out and ran around, I would have searched myself for the problem, thinking it was something I hadn't done well enough. But having suffered the pain of a previous life, I no longer dare to crave that kind of love. Sophia Taylor frowned, and her close friend immediately jumped in to cover for her. Ethan Johnson, stop joking. Exactly. You chased Sophia for 10 years, and now you say you don't love her. Who believes that? Trying to play hard to get again? Honestly, you really can't compare to Dylan Scott. Dylan Scott, the unattainable white moonlight of Sophia Taylor's love, has just returned to the country. Sophia Taylor specially held this welcome banquet for him. Dylan Scott has a pretty boy face, his red lips parted slightly. Sophia, I should leave. I don't think brother Ethan likes me. As he spoke, he pretended to get up to leave. Before going, he gave me a provocative smile. Sophia Taylor grabbed him, frowning. Ethan Johnson, what nonsense are you spouting today? Before she finished speaking, I took Dylan Scott's hand and placed it in her palm. Aren't you fond of Dylan Scott? I'm making it possible for you now. Then I left without looking back. Seeing this, her girlfriends all urged her to hurry after him and take a look. At that moment, Dylan Scott suddenly clutched her stomach. Sophia, you go after brother Ethan quickly. I don't want you to misunderstand because of me. Sophia Taylor's step forward halted. She helped Dylan Scott up. I'll take you to the hospital first. As for Ethan Johnson, he's nothing more than a live-in son-in-law of the Taylor family. He can't leave the Taylors. After a while, the private room quieted down. I watched Sophia Taylor get into a car holding Dylan Scott and drive off, my eyes a little wet. The front passenger seat that used to be mine had been taken by Dylan Scott. His cautious manner made me even more certain that the person she loved was Dylan Scott. Over the years, I haven't never given up, but Mr. George Taylor always tried to comfort me. Ethan Johnson, rest assured, our Taylor family will only ever recognize you as our son-in-law. Sophia is still young. After you two are married, she'll settle down. This time, however, I was silent. Mr. George Taylor saw my silence, stroked my head, and praised me for being sensible. I naturally understood what he had in mind. His only granddaughter was Sophia Taylor, and Sophia lacked the ability to run the Taylor Group. Right now, it all depended on me. He wanted to bind me with Sophia Taylor to make me the workhorse of the Taylor Group. But for a full 10 years, Sophia Taylor treated me like a nanny. My efforts to befriend her were mercilessly trampled. Under Mr. George Taylor's pressure, she became even more rebellious and thought I was deliberately using this to blackmail her. But I loved her dearly, so over the years I never gave up on her. Seeing me return alone, Mr. George Taylor's brow furrowed. Ethan Johnson, why are you the only one back? Where's Sophia off gallivanting now? I looked at Mr. George Taylor. So you knew all this after all? In that case, I'll get straight to the point. Her white moon Dylan Scott has returned to the country. She's at the hospital taking care of him. I've figured out too. Sophia doesn't love me, so I want to break up with her. Maybe, in Sophia Taylor's eyes, she and I were never together. Mr. George Taylor stared at me, trying to read something from my face. But my resolute attitude made his heart drop sharply. This time I was serious. Today was supposed to be a family banquet, and the day we publicly announced it. But when Sophia Taylor heard that Dylan Scott had returned to the country, she abandoned the banquet to celebrate him. What surprised me even more was that she had invited all her girlfriends, leaving me no room at all. Just then, Sophia Taylor returned with Dylan Scott. They held hands, looking exactly like a couple. Dylan Scott's face was pale, as if he'd just survived a serious illness. Sophia Taylor supported him, and they sat down in the banquet hall. And the seat he took happened to be mine. Mr. George Taylor slammed the table and stood up. Sophia Taylor, get him out of the Taylor house immediately. No sooner had he spoken than Dylan Scott looked up at me, his eyes full of hatred. I knew he still believed I was up to something, but I couldn't be bothered to explain. Sophia Taylor couldn't wait to speak. Grandpa, what are you doing? Dylan just returned to the country. He has no one to rely on. What's wrong with me being concerned about him? Mr. George Taylor slapped her across the face. What do you mean? You even took her to the hospital. Don't forget, today is your engagement banquet with Ethan Johnson. Why did you bring an outsider back? Dylan Scott sprang up and pushed past Sophia Taylor. Sophia, I think I'd better go. Your grandfather doesn't seem to welcome me. Seeing Dylan Scott in that state, the elders of the Taylor family showed displeasure and wanted to drive Dylan Scott away. Sophia Taylor heard this and sheltered him behind her. Dylan is ill. Is it fun for you to pick on a sick person? Seeing her acting so protective, I stepped in front of Mr. George Taylor. Grandpa Taylor, you know Sophia's personality. Not even 1,000 horses could pull her back. Since they want to be together, I think you might as well let go and give it a try. After saying that, I smiled and looked at Sophia Taylor. Although I couldn't marry Sophia, having a younger sister isn't so bad. Sister, Sophia Taylor murmured. She looked up at me, but, in the end, didn't say anything more. The victory banquet didn't feel pleasant. Dylan Scott understood he wasn't welcome and hurriedly finished his meal. Sophia Taylor stood up and saw him out. After the two left, the atmosphere became lively. This Dylan Scott is really Sophia's bane. Judging by the situation, I could believe that Sophia pours her heart out for him. But I think this kid doesn't have pure motives for getting close to Sophia. Hearing those words, my heart felt as if it had been pierced 1,000 times. It turned out that I was the fool who had lived 2 lives. Everyone else could see it at a glance. Only I refused to look. But not anymore. In the previous life, at the Taylor family banquet, Mr. George Taylor and I joined forces to drive Dylan Scott out of the Taylor family. Under Mr. George Taylor's pressure, Sophia Taylor registered our marriage with me. But after registering, she wouldn't even let me touch her. We slept in separate rooms, and we even ate separately. She said, Ethan Johnson, you really make me feel sick. When Mr. George Taylor urged us to have children, she went even further, proclaiming, my body will only be given to Dylan. As for you wanting a child, tell him to go have one with some random woman outside. Fortunately, before the wedding, Sophia Taylor had been drugged. She fled home and crawled in my bed. After a night of passion, she became pregnant. But later Dylan Scott fell gravely ill and needed a placenta for medicine. She did not hesitate to abort Lily, our daughter, in order to treat Dylan Scott. By the time I reached the hospital, I only found my daughter Lily discarded in a trash bin. After that, I stopped caring about Sophia Taylor. I focused on running Taylor Group and grew it tenfold. But from overwork, I fell ill and developed cancer. While I lay in the ward, she never came to see me even once. At that moment, I finally understood. Someone who doesn't love you won't care whether you live or die. My good brother Jack, he told me she was with Dylan Scott choosing a wedding dress. I no longer cared and asked no questions. For the rest of my life, I devoted myself to charity and even before I died, invented a miracle cancer drug. I did not leave the formula to Taylor Group, but donated it free to the state. Only the state could make affordable medicine available to ordinary people. When she died of cancer, Sophia Taylor finally came back. But she wasn't concerned about me. She was concerned about the prescription. Where did you hide the prescription? Dylan has cancer and needs the prescription to save his life. Ha ha ha. I laughed maniacally, spitting a mouthful of blood onto her face. Evil will be punished. Let him die with me. Sophia Taylor rushed over and grabbed my throat. You devil. The Taylor family should never have taken you in. But I could no longer hear what she was saying. Ethan Johnson, look at Dylan Scott's moments. After seeing off the last guest, I got a call from my good brother Jackie. When he finished speaking, I opened moments. At some point, Dylan Scott had updated his feed, posting 9 consecutive updates. All photos of Sophia Taylor accompanying him to a jewelry store and to Disneyland. And the most prominent one was a photo of them kissing. Seeing that, my chest still stabbed. But since I had decided to let go, why should I care? The past should be allowed to be completely past. Back in a bedroom, I began packing. Since we had broken up, it was obviously inappropriate for me to keep living at the Taylor's house. Still, the Taylors had supported me these years, and I would visit them again when I had the chance. I took down the photo on the wall. Most of the pictures on it were of Sophia Taylor and me. I cut the photo in half and casually tossed it into the nearby trash can. Today is Chi. I should have someone to spend it with, but right now it's frighteningly quiet. Outside the window, couples walk hand in hand, and I have not an ounce of holiday joy. Fireworks cool quickly, and people's hearts change easily. My phone lit up. It was Sophia Taylor updating her moments. In the photo, she leans on Dylan Scott's shoulder, captioned, Chi, only you and me for the rest of my life. The comments were immediately overrun, full of 99.99 plus likes. Such a talented man and beautiful woman. May you have 100 years of harmony. I was in a closed moments, but my hand slipped and I hit like. The next second, a call from Sophia Taylor came right away. Dylan's in a bad mood. I was just comforting him. You like the post on moments, which made Dylan utterly heartbroken. Call Dylan right now and apologize, or get out of the Taylor house. I replied coolly with 2 words, I'm out. From now on, everything about her has nothing to do with me. I packed the last pair of pants into the suitcase. In that huge room, my things didn't even fill one suitcase. Just as I was about to lie down and sleep through my last night at the Taylors, Sophia Taylor sent a message. Dylan has returned to the country and doesn't have a job yet. I want him to be the company's vice president, and you can be his assistant from now on. Dylan is a top student who studied abroad. Stick close to him and learn well. This is a rare opportunity. A rare opportunity? Seeing that message, the last trace of hope I had for Sophia Taylor vanished. She was handing the Taylor group over to someone else. The Taylor family's fortune would likely be ruined by her. Still, the Taylor family had helped me before, so I had to inform Mr. George Taylor. The next morning, I was packing my suitcase to leave. Unexpectedly, Sophia Taylor came home with Dylan Scott, and we ran into each other. Seeing their hands part as soon as they touched, and the matching couple rings on their fingers chilled me to the bone. So she did love someone, she just didn't want to be with me. Except for me. They received contemptuous looks from all the Taylors. In their eyes, I was the son-in-law of the Taylor family. I remembered the past. The Taylors went on a trip and were suddenly caught in a landslide. My parents happened to pass by and save their family, but paid with their lives. Sophia Taylor's parents were also mortally wounded and died on the way to the hospital. I moved into the Taylor household at 5 and was considered Sophia Taylor's childhood playmate. She once said, when you grow up, how about you marry me? But after Dylan Scott appeared, everything changed. She became attentive to Dylan Scott and gradually distanced herself from me. Maybe it was fate. Sophia Taylor walked in and looked at me intently. She stared at the suitcase in my hand and asked in puzzlement, are you going on a business trip? How come I didn't know? I smiled at her and said, I did say so. Maybe you've been busy lately and forgot. Mr. George Taylor came out and he took my hand and said, Ethan Johnson, have this meal before you leave. I glanced at Sophia Taylor and still agreed, some things need to be made clear. Mr. George Taylor didn't give Dylan Scott a bit of a friendly look. You're Dylan Scott, the scum who disappeared for 10 years back then. Grandpa Taylor, I had my reasons back then. I didn't want to drag Sophia down with me. Dylan Scott was slippery with words. In just a few sentences, he washed his hands of all responsibility. Mr. George Taylor looked at me. Ethan Johnson, did you really break up with Sophia? You two were together for 10 years. At those words, Dylan Scott's face turned as black as coal. I saw the smile at the corner of Mr. George Taylor's mouth and didn't feel like putting on an act for him. Grandpa Taylor is joking. It was just childhood teasing. No sooner had I finished speaking than I received a message from Sophia Taylor. Were we really just childhood, roughhousing? 3 months ago. I frowned. I suddenly remembered that 3 months ago, Sophia Taylor had been drugged and spent the night with me. If nothing unusual happened, she should be pregnant. That was my only flesh and blood, but in the previous life, it was cruelly snuffed out by her. Now that I've been reborn, I don't want the tragedy to happen again. I replied with 3 words, abort it. Sophia Taylor jerked her head up, disbelief written all over her face. She hadn't expected me to be so heartless. At the dining table, Dylan Scott took the seat I used to occupy. I didn't say much and instead sat down beside Mr. George Taylor. Ethan Johnson, why are you sitting over there? Weren't you always? Sophia Taylor didn't finish her sentence, suddenly realizing Dylan Scott was sitting where I had been. She said nothing more, her eyes fixed intently on me. I didn't look at her and ate quietly, but while eating I noticed Dylan Scott glancing at me many times. His looks were full of jealousy and murderous intent. Partway through, Sophia Taylor went out to take a call. When she returned, she heard Mr. George Taylor introducing a match for me. Ethan Johnson, since you broke up with Sophia, I'll take it upon myself to introduce you to someone. Do you know the Liu family's daughter, Luna Liu? She just returned to the country recently. Sophia Taylor stood up, something on her lips she wanted to say, but she didn't. I immediately spoke. If there's a chance, I'll definitely meet her. Before, whenever Mr. George Taylor introduced potential matches to me, I always refused outright, because in my heart there was only Sophia Taylor. Seeing me suddenly agree, a look of displeasure flashed across Sophia Taylor's face. She suddenly spoke. But I heard that this Luna Liu lives a dissolute life. Ethan Johnson deserves better, at least someone like me. I looked at Sophia Taylor and saw only an extremely ugly expression on her face. While everyone was speaking, Dylan Scott interrupted us. What Grandpa Taylor meant is that he's just afraid Ethan Johnson isn't worthy of Luna Liu. Mr. George Taylor was stunned. Dylan Scott forced an awkward smile. Sophia Taylor quickly spoke up to help Dylan Scott out of the awkwardness. I think what Dylan said makes a lot of sense. The Liu family is even stronger than the Taylor family. Luna Liu is still young, yet she's already the one in charge of the Liu family. I heard she's come back this time to inherit Chicago. Mr. George Taylor even praised, so you should still consider Luna Liu. She'll save you from a lot of detours in the future. Hearing that, a warm current unexpectedly flashed through my heart. Mr. George Taylor cares about me. Sophia Taylor interrupted again. Relying on a woman, what kind of man is that? I really don't understand what Sophia Taylor is raging about today, but I no longer care. I took a deep breath and tried to show as calm a smile as possible. Sister, you're wrong to say that. Nowadays, it's all about gender equality. I happen to know Luna Liu too, Sophia Taylor sprang up, grabbed Dylan Scott, and left. The next day, I moved out of the Taylor household. After leaving the Taylors, I had more free time to hang out with my good buddy Jack. Eating, drinking, and having fun, and my leisure life became much richer. Several more days passed, and Jackie dragged me to a cocktail party. I hadn't wanted to go, but he hauled me there anyway. At the party, I learned that Dylan Scott planned to use the event to confess his feelings to Sophia Taylor. According to Jackie, the two had been dating frequently these days, and there was an 8 or 9 chance the confession would succeed. Dylan Scott had even prepared a ring, hoping to settle it once and for all. It seemed he was feeling the pressure. I recognized most of the people at the party. When they saw me arrive, many walked over to greet me. They asked about my progress with Sophia Taylor and even joked about when they'd get to attend my wedding. I explained seriously that we were just siblings. Sophia Taylor was not far away, glancing this way every so often. Before the confession began, Dylan Scott called me out. Ethan Johnson, I know you still like Sophia. You and she were childhood sweethearts. But the person Sophia likes is me. I hope you won't cause trouble later, or you'll only break her heart. So I want to ask you to leave. I couldn't help but interrupt him. Do you want me to leave? Dylan Scott, I'm not looking down on you, but what Sophia Taylor wants, you can't give. On the surface, Dylan Scott was gentle and refined, but behind the scenes, he was a hypocrite. 10 years ago, when the Taylors' business faltered, he immediately fled abroad. In recent years, as the Taylors rose again, he ran back to seek reconciliation. He just wanted to use the unattainable white moonlight card to keep Sophia Taylor hanging on. But Sophia Taylor didn't know that after the pain of the last life, in this life, I no longer love her. I gave Dylan Scott a brilliant smile. Of course, then I'll wish you early success. Just back at the party, Sophia Taylor came over to pick a fight with me. What did you say to Dylan? You left him heartbroken. I looked at Sophia Taylor, surprised she didn't trust me. I suddenly laughed. If you want to know, you can go ask him yourself. There's another acquaintance over there. I'll go see them. Sophia Taylor stood awkwardly in place, and Dylan Scott hurried over. He comforted her. Sophia, maybe Ethan also wants to find a good match here. Don't worry about anyone else. Sophia, I prepared a program for you. As soon as he finished speaking, the banquet lights went out. The next moment, a multicolored spotlight shone on Dylan Scott. Where the light fell, confetti balloons descended from the air. In full view of everyone, Dylan Scott walked up to Sophia Taylor and knelt down. Sophia, will you marry me? Applause broke out, and people urged her to accept the ring. Sophia Taylor looked at Dylan Scott, but her eyes flicked toward the crowd. And finally, in a corner, she saw Luna Liu and me. The atmosphere reached a peak. Dylan Scott gazed at Sophia Taylor with earnest eyes, and everyone thought this perfectly matched couple was about to tie the knot. Looking at the two who had captured everyone's attention, I said to Luna Lou beside me, "What a talented pair." Luna Lou looked at me suspiciously. "Ethan Johnson, are you jealous? Isn't she your girlfriend? Why aren't you worried?" Sophia Taylor couldn't take it anymore. She pushed Dylan Scott aside. "I don't agree. The person I like isn't you. The person I like is..." The moment the words fell, everyone on the scene fell silent. They had no idea what Miss Taylor was making a fuss about. Luna Lou curled her lips and smiled at me. "You're not jealous, but your ex-girlfriend is. She likes you. Doesn't that move you?" Move me my foot. In my last life, after being together with her for so many years, she never once said, "I love you." Now like this, it's probably just another joke. I said calmly, "Maybe they had a fight. She's done this kind of thing plenty of times before." Sophia Taylor, eyes unreadable, pushed through the crowd and walked toward me. I watched her with a half smile, waiting for the show. In the next moment, the wine crate collapsed and shards sliced Dylan Scott's thigh. Sophia Taylor came to an abrupt stop and rushed over in a panic. Dylan Scott's calf was only scratched, but blood still seeped through the wound. He gripped his thigh with both hands, the white of his shirt stained red. Sophia Taylor, frantic, tore off part of her dress to staunch the bleeding, then lifted Dylan Scott in her arms, preparing to rush him to the hospital. As they passed me, Dylan Scott suddenly spoke. "Sophia, put me down quickly. It would be bad if Brother Ethan gets the wrong idea. There are so many people watching. If it gets out, our relationship will really be set in stone. Brother Ethan is in a bad mood. You should go comfort him first. I can go to the hospital alone." Dylan Scott's voice wasn't loud, but I heard it clearly. I knew he was doing this to cement his relationship with Sophia Taylor in front of everyone. Under all those eyes, the Taylor family would have no choice but to acknowledge it. Sophia Taylor wanted to explain something, but in the end she said nothing. "You don't need to explain to him. I'll take you to the hospital first." After the two left, Luna Lou walked over. "Dylan Scott is very scheming. I'm afraid Sophia Taylor is being deceived by him." Luna Lou could see it at a glance. So how could Sophia Taylor not see it? Even if she did, she wouldn't suspect, because Dylan Scott is her white moonlight. I shook my head. "It's other people's business. We don't need to speculate." Through this, you can see clearly that there's really nothing between Sophia Taylor and me. Luna Lou wanted to treat me to a meal, but I declined. I just moved in these past 2 days and have too much to take care of. Once I'm done, I'll take the initiative to invite her over. Walking out onto the street, groups of men and women were everywhere. I suddenly realized that finding a girlfriend might not be a bad idea. Just as I was about to reach the front door, Sophia Taylor stopped me at the gate. "Why are you moving out of the Taylor house?" I pushed her aside and replied, non-committally, "I'm grown now. It's time I start my own household and career." Sophia Taylor lunged to pull me in her arms, but I dodged. Having suffered in the previous life, I'm not prepared to get entangled with Sophia Taylor this time. Right now, we're downstairs at my building. What if someone misunderstands? She froze, and the hand she had extended slowly lowered. This was typical of her, wanting it both ways, wanting it all, and hoping to share the benefits. She accused me. "Didn't I tell you to stay away from Luna Lou?" If I hadn't lived through a previous life, I might still have believed her. In that life, Luna Lou, a single woman, developed the Lou family into one of the world's top 100 companies. I shook my head. "I've dealt with her. She's not the kind of person you describe." "On the contrary, where are you? Aren't you supposed to be at the hospital with your white moonlight?" He actually fell into a cesspit back then, trying to save you. I didn't expect my words would instead make Sophia Taylor misunderstand that I was jealous. She suddenly brightened and smiled. "Don't worry, Dylan Scott and I are just playing around. After all, he's my white moonlight. Once I get tired of him, I'll come back to you." I stared at her and said word by word, "Sophia Taylor, we are already broken up. As for how you want to play this, that's your business. You don't need to report to me." Sophia Taylor finally panicked. "Who said I want to break up? I don't agree. What does it matter if you don't agree?" Before I could speak, my good friend Jack, his voice sounded. "Look at the filthy things you've done recently. You simply don't deserve Ethan Johnson. Do you want me to list them for you?" Sophia Taylor's face darkened. She grabbed my arm and was about to explain, but Jack, he cut her off. "First you told your best friend you didn't love Ethan Johnson, and then you brazenly brought your white moonlight to the family dinner. You've been partying and having fun with him, and even accepted his confession. There's no accounting for the things you've done. The more Jackie spoke, the uglier Sophia Taylor's expression became. No, it's not like that. Hearing Jackie's words, Sophia Taylor wanted to explain, but her explanation was weak. She just hadn't expected that I would attend this party. I pushed Sophia Taylor's hand away and said, word by word, if you like your white moonlight, then go find him. He's still lying in the hospital waiting for you. Ethan Johnson, is there really nothing between Dylan Scott and me? The person I've always loved is you. Sophia Taylor raised her voice a bit, drawing the attention of many neighbors. Sophia Taylor, what are you doing? Jackie couldn't help but speak up. If you really love Ethan Johnson, why is it that every time the person you choose is Dylan Scott? Seeing Sophia Taylor being unreasonable, I tugged Jackie. There's no point talking to her. I pulled Jackie inside and shut the door. No sooner had I returned to the living room than my phone rang. It was Sophia Taylor. I was about to hang up, but Jackie couldn't help but remind me. You should take it. You know how the Taylor's eldest daughter in Los Angeles is. She'll make a fuss all night. I didn't want to believe him, but the next second, I heard a horn blaring outside the door. Ethan Johnson, I'm wrong. I have so much to say to you. Can you give me one more chance? Her action drew the neighbors' attention. To avoid disturbing others, I had no choice but to drag her into the room. She held 2 bags of candy in her hand, a smile at the corner of her mouth. I know you're angry, so I brought you 2 bags of candy. Your favorite. My expression darkened. Sophia Taylor, what on earth do you want? No sooner had I finished speaking than Sophia Taylor wiped the smile from her mouth and naturally stretched out on my lounger. What I want is simple. I want you to take responsibility for the child. But give me a little more time. Wait until I've completely dealt with that menace, Dylan Scott. 10,000 questions flashed through my mind. Considering her behavior these past few days, I suddenly had a guess. Could it be that you were reborn too? Sophia Taylor frowned slightly and said leisurely, I didn't expect you to notice, but I'm still the clever one. From a moment you rejected me, I knew you had been reborn too. I remained non-committal. Do whatever you want. It's none of my business. I'm going to rest now. Since my deepest secret had been discovered, I wouldn't show any mercy. This lifetime, I didn't want to have anything deep with her. She had already hurt me once. I wouldn't let it happen again. To my surprise, Sophia Taylor wasn't angry. She lowered herself considerably. I'm sorry, husband, it was my fault. You can be harsh with me, but don't be harsh with our child. He's only 3 months old. I didn't want to get too involved with her, but she tried to use the child to threaten me, and that completely ignited my fury. Sophia Taylor, you still have the nerve to bring up the child? In the last life, the child was only 3 months from being born, and you, in order to cure Dylan Scott, actually personally aborted Lily. What are you pretending for? If you like Dylan Scott so much, then go find him. This time, I finally see through her. Sophia Taylor's face went ashen, and after a long pause, she left only one sentence. I'll say it again. I did not have a physical relationship with Dylan Scott. I'm only getting close to him now to gather evidence of his crimes and put him in prison. I owe you a child. This life I will make sure he is born safely. If you still cannot forgive me, then I will die for the child. I looked at her, doubting the truth of her words. Sophia Taylor didn't stay any longer. She only glanced in the direction of the bedroom, her look full of meaning. After she left, I didn't feel relieved. Instead, I became even more depressed. It seems now she is dead set on giving birth to this child. In this life, I had thought she might rekindle things with Dylan Scott, but I didn't expect she intended to take revenge on him. What happened between them after I died of cancer in the last life? But none of that is my concern anymore. I just put down my phone when Jackie rushed out. He pawed at me and started examining me. Ethan Johnson, be honest, are you really reborn? I brushed his hand away and snapped. Of course I am. Why would I lie to you? Jackie's eyes lit up. Then tell me, which girl will be lucky enough to marry me in the future? I glanced at him. I have to admit, his luck is unbelievable. He will marry a good girl, and that girl will later become the future queen of pop. Seeing his anxious look, I couldn't help teasing him. She's a bar girl. Jackie jumped up in a panic. My parents definitely won't agree to that. I grinned. Not a bar girl. She's a folk singer who often live streams under the overpass. Jackie got excited. Give me her location and name right now. I have to meet her. I sent the information to his phone and said seriously, you can go, but don't make it too obvious. By the way, her grandmother is gravely ill and needs $500,000 for the surgery. When you help, don't let her find out. Jackie waved his hand. Got it. Isn't she just proud? Watch how I handle it. Watching Jackie's retreating figure, I genuinely felt sorry for him. His future wife is not to be trifled with. She's completely the type who rules the household, and he'll have a hard time ahead. I had just set my phone down when another notification sounded, a message from Dylan Scott. I opened my phone, and it was filled with photos of him and Sophia Taylor over the years, from their dates to their reconciliations. At the end, he even added a boast. "You can't beat me. Be smart and leave Sophia. Even if you force her to marry you, you won't win her heart. The only person she loves is me." These records are shocking. I want to believe what Sophia Taylor said, but the evidence in my hands is more direct. That night, I didn't sleep at all. It wasn't until the next day, when Jackie came to see me, that I finally snapped out of it. Ethan Johnson, I saw her yesterday. From the moment I saw her, I believed in love at first sight. Tell me again, what is she like, and what are her taboos? I grinned. She's going to be your wife in the future. You should find that out yourself. Why are you asking me? This kid really lacks tact. Seeing that I seemed willing to reveal something, Jackie immediately made several big promises. I laughed with satisfaction. These freebies were simply too good. After getting the news, Jackie ran faster than a rabbit. Before long, Luna Lou also contacted me and asked to meet. We met at a Sichuan restaurant. Looking at the familiar place, I couldn't help but ask, "By the way, how did you know I like spicy food?" I said I guessed. "Do you believe me?" Luna Lou didn't say more, but I could guess some of it, and inexplicably felt a bit touched. We sat facing each other and talked about the past years. Partway through, Sophia Taylor called, and I ruthlessly hung up on her. But she wouldn't give up and started bombarding my phone with messages. "Ethan Johnson, pick up the phone. Where are you right now? I'm coming to find you. You wouldn't be dating that vixen Luna Lou, would you? Ethan Johnson, answer me or I'll call the police." I was going to turn off my phone, but after thinking it over, I said to Luna Lou, "Luna, I need to take a call." Luna Lou nodded, watched my back, and fell into thought. Before long, I saw her dial a number. "James Carter, find something for Sophia Taylor to do. Don't let her come bother us." I turned the corner and answered the call. "Sophia Taylor, I've already made myself very clear. Don't come bothering me anymore." "Ethan Johnson, that's not how it is." The voice on the other end hadn't finished before a busy signal cut in. I hung up and turned to see Luna Lou waiting for me. Compared to before she went abroad, she had become more beautiful and mature. The first time we met, I had been stunned by her beauty. She handed me a box. I opened it, and inside was a wind chime. A breeze passed, the chime rang a pleasant tune, and my mood instantly calmed. Why do I feel like this wind chime is familiar? "You gave me one back then. This is one I modified and made myself," Luna Lou said softly. "You made it yourself? That's amazing." I was a little surprised. Childhood Luna Lou had never so much as touched a drop of water for chores. That she could now make something like this proved she had put in a lot of hard work. Hearing my compliment, she flashed a bright smile at the corner of her mouth. "This craft is actually pretty simple. I learned it from the carpenter for 3 months." I grabbed her hand and looked. Under the ointment were countless scars. "Does it hurt?" I couldn't help but ask with concern. Suddenly, a resentful voice came from behind, interrupting the mood of our date. I turned around and saw Sophia Taylor standing before me, her face weary. "Ethan Johnson, don't you know there's a big problem at Taylor Group? And you still have the nerve to be here flirting?" Sophia Taylor rushed over and placed both hands on the table. Judging by the sweat on her face, she had clearly run all the way. "Why didn't you answer my calls? Ethan Johnson, are you really not going to deal with Taylor Group? It was you who built it up and made it strong." Sophia Taylor's voice wasn't loud, but it drew the attention of those around us. Seeing that she was affecting others, I couldn't help but remind her, "Sophia Taylor, don't talk nonsense. I've already left Taylor Group. The company has gotten into trouble, so deal with it yourself. Coming to look for me is just a waste of time. As for who I date, that's my freedom, none of your business." Sophia Taylor was furious and rushed over to grab my hand. I was about to dodge when a figure suddenly stepped between us. Luna Lou pushed Sophia Taylor aside and shielded me. "Sophia Taylor, Ethan Johnson is right. You should be going back to save your company now, not causing trouble here." "Luna Lou, don't think I don't know. The Taylor Group's problems this time were caused by your hand." Sophia Taylor shouted, then lunged at Luna Lou, trying to grab her by the neck. Seeing this, I quickly shoved Sophia Taylor away. "Enough. Sophia Taylor, can you stop making a scene?" Luna Lou admitted wholeheartedly. "So what if I was the one who acted? We're just engaging in normal business competition." Sophia Taylor didn't hesitate to speak. "Your real target is Ethan Johnson, isn't it?" "I'm telling you, I will not give him up." The drama of two women fighting over one man quickly drew a crowd. They even started tussling. I hurriedly called security to pull them apart. Then I took out my phone and called Mr. George Taylor, asking him to send someone to take Sophia Taylor away. But before Mr. George Taylor's people arrived, Dylan Scott came first. He pointed at me and yelled, "Ethan Johnson, not only did you seduce Luna Lou, why did you also hurt Sophia? The Taylors treated you so well, and you repay them with betrayal. You ungrateful wretch." Before I could speak, he tried to pull Sophia Taylor away. I looked at Dylan Scott and said earnestly, "If I hurt her, you should ask her yourself." Sophia Taylor pushed Dylan Scott away and looked at me silently. "Ethan Johnson, I was really wrong." I exhaled. "Sophia Taylor, from the moment you chose Dylan Scott, there was no possibility between us." No sooner had the words fallen than Sophia Taylor couldn't wait to speak. "That was only to mislead Dylan Scott. I want to find evidence of his crimes. Ethan Johnson, I never intended to be with Dylan Scott. The one I have always loved is you." I snorted coldly. "You keep saying you love me, but actually you want the prescription for the cancer miracle drug I have. You think I don't know you're plotting with your girlfriends to set up a legitimate pharmaceutical factory?" After speaking, I pulled up a video. In it, she and her friend were discussing plans to build a legit drug factory. I put away my phone and turned to leave. "So Sophia Taylor, the only person you've ever loved is yourself." But just as I was about to leave, Sophia Taylor charged at me. Luna Lou grabbed her just in time, and Shun Xinya could only watch us leave with wide eyes. What surprised me was that before long, Sophia Taylor publicly announced she was pregnant with my child. Afterwards, Mr. George Taylor came to my house with Sophia Taylor. "Ethan Johnson, about the child. Don't you owe me an explanation?" Mr. George Taylor came to the door. I couldn't refuse to let him in, so I invited them into the house. "Ethan Johnson, Sophia has already confessed everything to me. Don't you have anything to say to me?" Mr. George Taylor asked. "I have nothing to say. The child was just an accident," I answered calmly. "But after all, this is your and Sophia's own flesh and blood. You don't want to take responsibility? Is that reasonable?" Hearing Mr. George Taylor's words, I understood immediately. Sophia Taylor had said only flattering things to him and never admitted her own mistakes. Whether it's reasonable or not, you should ask your granddaughter. I looked at Sophia Taylor. How did she climb into my bed back then? And afterward keep shouting another man's name? Ask her yourself. Sophia Taylor opened her mouth as if to speak, but in the end, she closed it again. It reminded me involuntarily of what happened 3 months ago. After being drugged, Sophia Taylor suddenly ran into my room. She knelt and begged me to save her and even said she was willing to marry me. But after I cured her of the drug, the name she kept murmuring was Dylan Scott. In my last life, I was a fool, still thinking she was just careless with her words. But after being reborn, I finally understood. The one she loved all along was Dylan Scott, and I was merely her backup. Ridiculous as it is, in this life, she still tried to use a child to threaten me. Mr. George Taylor at last understood as well, and with a cold face said to Sophia Taylor, "Sophia, be honest. Are you hiding something from me? If you don't love Ethan Johnson, why did you climb into his bed? What on earth is going on with the child? Why does Ethan Johnson avoid talking about the child?" Seeing Mr. George Taylor angry, Sophia Taylor buried her face and cried bitterly. "Ethan Johnson, I'm begging you, please don't push me anymore. I really love you. I'm willing to marry you. Can't we raise the child together?" Hearing these words, I almost felt nauseous. Sophia Taylor, your persistence is meaningless. I advise you to tell the truth. As for the formula for the miracle cancer drug, I donated it to the state free of charge long ago, so stop coveting it. Saying that, I displayed the donation certificate in front of her. Seeing this, Sophia Taylor collapsed to the ground. Mr. George Taylor understood to some extent and had her dragged out. After they left, I blocked all of Sophia Taylor's contact information. I didn't want any further contact with someone like her. Later, Mr. George Taylor approached me several more times, wanting me to return to Manage Taylor Group. I turned down his offer outright. In my previous life, I worked myself to death for Taylor Group. This time, I just want to live for myself. Under Mr. George Taylor's questioning, I told him everything about my past life in detail. After hearing it, he didn't try to persuade me further. He only let out a long sigh. You're a good kid. Sophia doesn't deserve you. If I had known Dylan Scott was that kind of person, I would never have let him be near Sophia in the first place. Ethan Johnson, remember, the Taylor family will always be your home. Even if I don't want that granddaughter, it's fine. I said nothing in response. After resting for a few days, I found a job at a research institute. From what my colleagues said, the institute had been bought by a company, and the new boss would show up today, supposedly a beautiful CEO who had returned from overseas and was a top talent. Hearing their conversation, my heart sank. How could things be so coincidental? At the CEO handover ceremony, I stood in the crowd, holding a sign that read, "Welcome, CEO." A Porsche pulled up, and a woman stepped out of the car. From among the people, the female CEO walked straight toward me and even gave me a gentle smile. Following her gaze, everyone looked at me. Someone asked in puzzlement, "Ethan Johnson, do you know the new CEO?" I quickly shook my head. How could that be? I'm just an orphan, and it's my first time meeting the CEO. But before I could finish speaking, Luna Lou reached out her hand. "Ethan Johnson, please take care of me for the rest of my life." I was speechless. Everyone was smiling at me. I wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. The next day, the whole institute knew. I was President Luna's boyfriend, the one she loved but couldn't have. She drove me to work every morning, brought me a nutritious lunch at noon, and picked me up from work in the evenings. Under her gentle advances, I gradually accepted her love. Half a year later, I accompanied Luna Lou to the hospital to check the fetal heartbeat. At the hospital, I unexpectedly ran into Sophia Taylor. She was holding a baby in her arms and was a lot thinner than before. When Sophia Taylor saw me, she turned and walked toward me. I didn't want to see her and was about to leave, but a pair of hands suddenly wrapped around my waist from behind. "Ethan Johnson, long time no see." I nodded, my gaze settling on the child in her arms. "If you need any help, I'll do my best to assist you." Sophia Taylor gave a light laugh and looked at Luna Lou beside me. "Luna Lou, I'm not here today to steal your husband. I'm just here to sincerely say to Ethan Johnson, I'm sorry. I'm planning to move abroad to settle down, so we may not see each other again." Luna Lou was a little surprised, then said earnestly, "Take care then. I know quite a few people abroad. If you need anything, tell me anytime." Sophia Taylor turned and left. Looking at her desolate back, I didn't feel much sympathy. I turned to Luna Lou and said softly, "For the rest of my life, my world will only have you." A few days later, I received a call from Jackie. "Ethan Johnson, Sophia Taylor is ruthless. She had Dylan Scott investigated to the bone. Dylan Scott is going away this time. Don't expect him back in less than 30 years. I felt not the slightest ripple inside, but couldn't help teasing him. "What about you? Did your other half agree to let you go out today?" All I heard from the other end was the busy signal, beep, 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 and I couldn't help laughing.